There's been a whole heap of interesting news coming out about the Bidens, about the Obamas, about the Clintons, about clones, about discovery of labs in Alaska, amongst other places, with working clones of the likes of Nancy Pelosi and AOC, amongst others, including a lot of military types, including a couple of generals that we all know and love, pardon me. Now, apparently when they've made these clones, and particularly with insignia that these clones wear, they've made a few mistakes, so they tend to stand out a little bit. I don't have much of an idea of what's going on in Canberra this weekend, other than there is a get-together on Sunday to remember 12 months ago when well over 1 million people turned up in Canberra. Now, I've seen the Ben Fordham interview with Cooker, or Cookerwatch, and disappointing is probably the only word I can say at the moment. I am going to go through that, and I will make up a rebuttal to it, and I'll send it to them, but I know they won't play it. I'm not completely sure, but there is a lot of questions to be answered about Cookerwatch and who funds them, exactly who they are, who they're connected to. They're definitely controlled, or uncontrolled, out of control. I don't know which way you put it with them sometimes, because they can be, pardon me while I just pull my trousers up. I'm about to go and get walking through the water. They're definitely controlled, and given the access that they have to the Fordham program and their willingness at the Fordham program to allow her to say essentially anything she wants without rebuttal, goes to show that they're not interested in telling the truth. They're not interested in telling both sides of the story. They are only interested in telling their single narrative. So when I get home, I'll go through that interview, cut it up, and we'll take it point by point. I'll send it off to Ben, so I've got his contacts, and we'll see what he does with it. He did talk that he wanted to do a podcast with me, maybe. Clearly he's decided maybe that's not such a good idea. Can I just tell you that our Fitz is attracting a lot of attention around the world at the moment, and people ask why he keeps his face hidden. It's precisely for this reason, because people seem to want to get fixated on what he looks like rather than what he says. Well, right now they're fixated on what he says and what he writes. Maybe if you had a little bit more God. Oh, let's speak about God for a minute. I did touch on Cookerwatch. So, yeah, she has emailed me. Apparently her email address is working, because I got an email from it, but I've also got 2 other rejection notices from it, so I don't know what happened. Maybe Google were just having a bad day that day. She has been on the Ben Fordham show. She's made some pretty outrageous statements. She's mischaracterised what happened in Canberra 12 months ago, and she has propagated the lie that 10 or 15,000 people went to Canberra that day. So I'm sure there are people who are watching this who have those aerial photos of Canberra. I don't have them on the computers that are with me. So if you've got them, please send them to Twatchwatch or whatever the hell she's on, and let her know just how many people came to Canberra. If anybody happens to have access to the footage of the Canberra police, or even the newspaper reports from the Canberra Times, where AFP estimated an extra 1.4 million cars came into Canberra in that, was it 24 or 36 hours leading up to the weekend? Not 10 or 15,000 cars, or better still, not 7 or 7,500 cars with 2 people each in them. No, 1.4 million cars with an average of 2 people per vehicle, at least. Of course, there were buses that came carrying 30, 40, 50 people. There were private buses, motorhomes carrying 2, 4, 6, 8 people. So to have Twatchwatch, or whatever she calls herself, yeah, you know, start propagating the lies like that, you know, they've got 10 or 15,000 people turned up to that rally. Well, I don't know. If you're a Twitter person, go and find them, let them know. Post the photos, post the video. Let them try and deny it. And then ask her if she's going to get on Ben Fordham and try and say it again, but whether or not she has the journalistic integrity to own up to the fact that she might have got the numbers wrong. You want to be a journalist, Cookie, be an honest one. Maybe take the 666 off your email address. But be an honest one. Don't try and bullshit bullshitters. And right now there are 1.4 to 2 million people you're calling bullshitters from last year in Canberra. I think you might get a bit of an idea that they're not happy about that, if any of them could be bothered going to your Twatch site and telling you about it. I know I won't be. And maybe even the cookers, or the cookie watchers, I beg your pardon, because I'll always give the cookers time. But the cookies, if they can raise the semblance of a half truthful argument, happy to have them on. Of course, she didn't want to come on the other night when we were talking to Fitz about sovereign and citizen. She didn't want to learn the true definition of sovereign and citizen because it would undermine better than 50% of her current argument, would probably make her fairly useless on the Ben Fordham show. The problem that Ben Fordham has is I've told him what a sovereign and what a citizen is. He knows. And he's not telling you. He knows. He's continuing the bullshit as well. I did say, Ben, don't do that.